What I'm going to show you is how to make an extension hose so that you can grease your intermediate bearing a lot easier if you have an FX or a VXR that has the 1.8 liter engine. It's a lot easier on the VXs that don't have the 1.8 liter engine because you just got more room. But with the 1.8 liter engine, back there where the intermediate bearing housing is and where the grease zerk is, it's really hard to get to. You might not even know it's there. You've actually got to move the electrical box out of the way, and then along the edge of the bulkhead you'll see that intermediate bearing and where that grease zerk is. So to be able to make this extension hose, what you're going to need is a piece of hose. This is a fuel hose, 1/4 inch ID. You can probably use a piece of Tygon or something, but you are pumping petroleum products through it, so it is recommended to at least use a fuel hose or petroleum hose of some sort. You'll need a foot of that. This piece right here is a little bit shorter than 12 inches. It's like 11.5, but you'll be trimming it down just a little bit. But if you got a 12-inch piece, then that'll work, and then you can just trim it down as required, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. You'll need 2 small hose clamps, and then you'll need a grease zerk. This one is a 1/8 inch NPT male threads, and then you'll need a 1/4 inch hose barb to female 1/8 inch NPT. And what these are going to do is these two here are going to screw together. You can put some sealant on that and then tighten those up, and that will go on one side. And then you need this piece here, and this piece, there's a couple manufacturers that make these. It's not going to be real common. I don't know that you'll be able to go anywhere and just buy this, but I'll give you the part numbers for it. And so this is a printout from Amazon, and don't worry about these prices too much. Those are a little high right there. You can definitely get them for a lot cheaper than that. You may be able to find them at Napa. I did see them on O'Reilly's website for like $3 and something cents, but you had to get it ordered. I bought mine online, and I definitely paid a lot less than this right here. But Lincoln makes one, and the part number for it is 224. But don't worry about that engine timing cover seal. Amazon has a description wrong. But if you Google Lincoln 224, then you'll find that part. And also Alamite 51942. And what this part is it's a 1/4 inch 28 SA LT taper, which is on this side, and then it's an 1/8 inch female NPT thread on the other side. And so what you're going to do with this piece is, I'll show you in a minute on the intermediate bearing housing, is you'll remove the grease zerk. It's a grease zerk like this. It's just a little bit smaller than that. And it comes from the factory. You'll remove that grease zerk, and you're going to thread this in there. Now before you thread that in, you'll want to get another hose barb. This is 1/4 inch hose on one side with male 1/8 NPT threads on the other. So this one was a female and this one is a male. And so you're going to screw these two together like this, and then I'll show you outside on the jet ski what you're going to do with it. And we'll talk about the grease and how often to do it and the quantity. In the current service manual and owner's manual for the jet skis that are newer than 2012, Yamaha doesn't say a whole lot about it. They just say lubricate the intermediate housing. If you do some Googling, you'll see prior to 2012, Yamaha used to specify exactly how much to put in there. At the 10-hour mark, it was around 1 ounce. After that, it was a lot less, like less than 1/4 ounce. So in most grease guns, a full-size grease gun at least that uses a 14-ounce cartridge, normally 1 pump of the grease gun equals 1 gram. So 28-30 pumps of the grease gun and you've got 1 ounce. So what I did was, at the 10-hour mark, I added 1 ounce of grease to the bearing housing, which was 30 pumps, or 28 rather. And then every year since then, I've been adding between 5 and 10, and I've just been going based on feel. If at the 5 pump mark, if it feels good, then I just keep going at 10 and I call it good. You don't really know how much you're putting in there as far as how full the housing is, because you can't see it. The housing is sealed on both sides. It's got lip seals, and those lip seals are facing outwards, so that helps keep the water out. But at the same time, theoretically, it should allow the grease to slip by the seals if the housing is full and you keep pumping. But you need to be careful with it still. And if while you're pumping, everything's going smoothly, the grease is flowing in smoothly, if all of a sudden there's some resistance on the handle, then it's possible that housing is full already. So then just stop. And again, just pump slow, like 3, 4, 5 seconds for each stroke. Don't pump it real fast. You see my jet ski's already partially taken apart. Right here there's going to be a seat support, so either you can remove it or work around it. Now before you unbolt your electrical box, as you can see, I've already installed my extension hose, and it's right here. you're going to want to measure from this corner over about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches or so. Mine's a little bit about 1 inch. I think it needs to be over just a little bit more, would work a little bit better. So just measure over about 1.25 inches and put a Sharpie mark. And then there's 4 bolts that hold this electrical box on. So just take those 4 bolts out, and then this whole thing will move forward. And right down there, that's your intermediate bearing, and that you'll see a grease zert right there from the factory. Let's pull that grease zert out. It's a 5/32 socket and a 1/4 inch ratchet, and you'll be able to get that grease zert out. When you go to thread this piece in there, you're going to thread this in there first. Don't expect it to go all the way in, because it is a taper thread, so it's going to get tight after 2 or 3 turns, you know. So as long as you get 2 or 3 turns in there, that's about all you can expect to get from it. Now after you get that in, then you'll put your hose on it, and you'll put your hose clamp on and tighten that up. Now you see right here on the back of this electrical box, got this little square piece that protrudes out. So you want your hose to angle over this way so that this square piece doesn't hit the hose, because if you got your hose over like that, it's going to hit. So just set your hose up so that it's bending over this way. And that's why I said to go ahead and move this over just a little bit. It'll make it a little bit easier, I think, if this is over just a little bit more. So make sure your hose is angled this way so that when this box is, let's see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but when this box is back up there, see how it's real close? You want to make sure that hose isn't gonna get pinched in there. So after you've got that hose on and that hose clamp is tight, then you're going to drill through here so that this hose barb will go in there. Once you've drilled through, put your hose barb, this piece here, you're going to put that through the hole, put your hose on the bottom sides with the hose clamp, and then tighten it up. Now also remember that the hose is empty when you get it, or when you install it, and it takes about 8 pumps to fill this hose up. So the first time you do this, you're going to put at least 18 pumps in here, 8 to fill the hose up, and then about another 10 into the intermediate bearing.